Like recently, my landlord just increased the rent. It just this guy doesn't. We have a group chat. This guy does not say anything on the group chat. He's just dropped a message that the rent has increased. He increased the rent by 40%.
Wow.
The rent has increased. Effect for there are some persons rent that are expiring that are due this month. Effect from so we should take it in good faith. I saw it and I didn't respond. I was just smiling in my mind. This guy is looking for trouble. Then someone came to me and said, he doesn't mind paying the rent. I said, see, you might have the money, but this is not the right thing to do now. First of all, you're a yearly tenant. Yearly, this is why people have to be informed.
Hello, my people. Welcome to another interesting episode of the CASTED show. Well, I don't want to waste your time this period. Well, we've got an important topic to discuss today. And before we further ahead, I would like to, appreciate each and every one of you who have been so kind in your likes, your comments, and, supporting us, for how far, we've come through this casted show. So it will interest you that we've got an important personality in our midst today who is here to do perfect justice to the topic: which states real estate in Nigeria, the pros and cons, the things you need to know, or the steps you need to take before you engage in any act of property, renting, getting a land, and what have you. So I'd like to introduce in the building, Mr. Steve.
Thank you very much, Benson. As you all know, you don't cast everywhere. So, but real estate is a very interesting topic and a venture that you see everybody they want to go into. So I hope we'll be able to deliver some punchline along real estate today.
All right. Thank you very much. And I hope you're ready for the heat. Yes, and I've got my own bro in the building. You don't see fine boy. You know they laugh. You know yeah. Oh, I work out my pal. DY in the building.
Yeah. It's nice being here.
Well, I don't see fine boy. Yeah. This one a gospel artist too. Not full of anointing. All right, bro, Steve. So let's dig into the topic for today. So tell us, when it comes to real estate in Nigeria, what do you have to say as regards that?
Well, real estate is actually deep. Apart from the craft or profession, there's also the art. I call it art because you need to master a lot about real estate itself before you want to venture into it. There's the profit part of real estate. There's the when we talk about profit, we're talking about long term, short term. There are also people that have lost a fortune in real estate. When people hear real estate, they are like, man, my money don't turn good immediately.
Yeah.
But you really need to understand what real estate is all about before you think about venturing into it. Probably talking about maybe partnership, talking about being the user end. That's talking about the ends and user, like you getting the property at the end of the day. Or it's wide actually. There's a tenancy part in real estate, so it's actually deep. But I hope we'll be able to hit some punchlines, as I said earlier, as regards it.
Okay, so one thing that I'm aware of, if you want to be a real estate a professional in real estate, or maybe when you want to do something else to do with real estate, you have to study estate management. Or sort of, I don't know, but it appears that now everybody, if you ask most majority of individuals, I'm into real estate. So what really is it that now, whether or not you study the course related to real estate, you can venture into it.
Yeah. I think real estate, it's not just basically about there are different parts when it comes to real estate. There are the persons that are like the middlemen that go out to like source for these properties and sell, while there are like the major companies as well that are there that buy these things and build them from the scratch before they sell. So I think there are different parts, but Engineer Steve will be throwing more lights on that, as we go. But before we go into that, I just want to ask a very simple question. Do you feel like the real estate industry in Nigeria has grown over time? Because I feel like it's more efficient in some other cities than others. And why is that?
All right, D1. I want to go back to your question. See, Nigeria normally they'll say to answer question, you need to ask question. One of the first question I want to ask is, when we say real estate, what's your definition? What's your definition of real estate? We have to define the real estate that we're talking about. Because it's actually, as I said, is wide. There are some persons that are into property management.
Okay.
They call themselves real estate agents. There are some persons that are just you're looking for a property. They act as a middleman to get a property.
That's the part I really want to understand, because it's virtually like everybody they do them. So all right.
So I talked about the professional part. I talked about the business part. Someone getting a property, buying a property to sell tomorrow is basically doing real estate. There are some persons that study the estate management in school. There are some persons that study the real estate they are called realtors. They get properties, they work on the properties and they sell. You get but you've been able to define the parts now. Getting an apartment, getting an apartment and looking for a tenant. So that's the scope. Let's talk about that. Let's narrow it down
to that part.
Okay, we want to narrow it down now. We'll be talking about location, because location determines the kind of characteristics you see, with this. I'm talking about this estate management. I'm talking about this property management. Now, location determines, what you see. Like, for instance, in Lagos, we want to talk about percentage now, which is, I think some of us want to hear about percentage for property management. In Lagos now, some people take percentage of maybe the general sum you have to pay, the rental sum you have to pay. They take percentage of like 5%. In Lagos. In Benin, they take as much as 30%. So if it's a general, you'll not be wondering why real estate now 5% for Lagos or 7%. It's even negotiable. But in Benin it's 30%. Like, won't I rather be an agent than owning a property, because they make more than the landlords or landladies at the end of the day. And if their goal is just to make profits, if you don't even like the apartment, you've lost that 30%. So anybody that is coming to take it pays another 30%. So so you get what I'm saying now. So if we should not define it, why is it that the price is different from Abuja, and what determines these prices? Benin is not a commercial hub, but you hear ridiculous amounts, for rentage, for house rent. You'll be wondering, how do these people determine it? What is the rule governing it? Because it's supposed to be a general thing.
It's
talking about it's supposed to be a general thing. Now Benin and Lagos Benin now they get price past Lagos. And you have people here that basically they don't work. But at the end of the year they'll be paying. So you'll be wondering what's going on.
So is there any agency that regulates the rentage, the amount you need to pay for a rent? Is there any agency that regulates that? Because I feel in every state there should be a regulatory body. You understand me? That will regulate that. Okay, if it's 2-bedroom, there should be a certain amount of money you pay. If it's a room and a living room, there should be a certain amount. If it's 3-room, I feel there should be. Or what do you think? Or maybe I don't know. I stand to be corrected.
Generally when we talk about rent, we're looking at location and environment. Then we're looking at facilities. Then we're looking at we're looking at basic facilities in the building. We're
Okay.
looking at the environment. Like, are you getting a property? Are you renting a property in an estate?
Environment.
You get now. There are some places that are estates. Why are they called estates? Because they have group of houses together that there's a body controlling what's happening in that particular particular facility. Let me use that whole facility now. But there are other areas that you just get a house along the road, and before you see the next house, you have like maybe like bushes or farms before you get there. So, talking about environmental factors, talking about facilities, those add up to the kind of they build up to the kind of amounts you get. And when getting a property, there are some when getting an apartment to see, there are some things you look out for. you know you look at the property itself, you look at the owner of the property, because uh, there are cases of fraud where you make payments to people that call themselves agents. At the end of the day,
Yeah, I was coming to that.
so but to answer your question which you asked now, there's actually no governing body that regulates this price. The only agent body I know are the agents in charge of checkmating these people that are looking for properties for you. So when you have a good agent that is registered, you will not have you'll be rest assured that you will not be defrauded. In case you have somebody to report the person to. You have somebody to bring the person to book.
Yeah.
Or to check him. But talking about price, I've not really seen a body that regulates this price, because using Benin as a case study now, you wonder a place like Adesua, you get a 1-bedroom apartment for 1.2 million. Then the next house is 600,000, and the house that is 600,000 is even more equipped,
Wow.
than the
Wow.
one that it's 1.2 million. So you'll be wondering like, what's going on? Why? So at the end of the day, when this landlord has heard that this person is paying 1.2, he wants to increase it, and some of this,
That's
Yeah.
insane.
and some people that actually increase this money, they are the agents themselves. When they come to approach you when your property is still under development, they'll tell you, okay, we have someone that can take this house, like this is the amount, this is the value of this property right now. So I think we should put it at this price. So for now we have, I think right now we have, it's just agents, then the landlord,
Yeah.
then talking about the location. There are some location that it's just like looking for an apartment in GRA. That a 3-bedroom apartment around there, the base price is, let's say, £1,000,000. Then someone is telling you, I have a good accommodation for you there for 600,000, 500,000. They be like, wow, it's cheap, let me go there.
But we've had cases where intending tenants, maybe someone that wants to get a house,
Yeah.
get duped by an agent. Now, these agents we are talking about, I feel there should be a sort of body that they should belong to, more like an association, or probably a body that they get registered. More like, because to me, I feel this your work deals with more like professionalism. You understand me? So if you as an individual, if you want to probably rent an apartment, and this person doesn't show you that he belongs or is a member of
Yeah.
maybe estate or whatever thing, you understand me, you'll be clear that no, this person is a scam, or this person is not an authentic person to entrust your money with. I get what I'm saying. So I don't know what is the estate or the real estate body doing as regards this these disadvantages.
Okay, to answer the question, just now I pointed out that there are bodies that regulate these agencies.
Okay.
Estates, talking about estate, real estate itself, you need to get a license to actually practice
Yeah.
real estate. You need a license actually, but a lot of persons do not go through that. They don't go through that path to get a license. They just get a landed property, They look at profit at the end of the day. It's just like
I don't
Something
know.
I
I
want
don't
to
know
point
about
out
the
as well.
Nigerian law. If there is any law that backs up things like this, if you are not registered to a particular professional body, you can't practice it.
It's
You
supposed to
understand
be
me?
like that.
Like
There's
I belong
supposed
to
be a law.
Nigerian Institute of Public Relations. You can't be a spokesperson, a PR personnel, without belonging to the to the institute. You'll be persecuted for that. So I feel there should be a sort of because this things deals with professionalism. I stand to be corrected, quote and unquote.
I think that there's also a problem. Sometimes how these things happen is that, for example, I'm your brother, and for example, you own like several properties along this road. I can just meet you and be like, okay, let me handle this property for you. Let me help you lease them out. You understand? And I'll take my own agent fee. That's what happens like generally around now. Someone who is not even well informed about all of this can just be like, okay, I'll rent this house, but this is the agent fee, this is the amount you are supposed to pay. The person does not even understand valuation at the end of the day, but that's why you see hike. Some prices are just insane. You get for maybe a 2-bedroom flat apartment, you'll be hearing outrageous prices. That's because they just feel like, okay, I heard that this person rented this apartment for so amount, so I'm just going to put my price. Okay, even maybe my structure is even better than this person's structure. I'll just increase it a little bit and ask for this sum of money from people. But okay, maybe people actually want the place, so they start paying, and before you know, rentage generally just goes up because there's no control.
You've made an important remark just now. You talked about valuation.
Yeah.
Then you talked about professionalism, talking about a body that controls these people.
Because day in day out, we have a lot of people falling victims to some of
yes,
these things.
and
Even land as well. Land.
Yeah.
Well, to respond to this, you just gotta shine your eyes last. Because why would I say that? Talking about PRO, we have a lot of persons that do not. I'm just being educated now that there's a body.
Yes.
There are a lot of people that say a lot of rubbish on the internet. They don't have license now.
Yeah.
They don't even know it exists. You get now. But
Yeah.
talking about agency, there's a body that controls, that regulates. If you want to get an apartment, you should ask, what body do you belong to? You should ask. The person should be able to identify himself.
Yeah.
Just like how we have professionals, we have quacks.
Yeah.
Like by profession now, I'm a civil engineer. I have my license. I can practice. So I
yeah.
design. I construct. At times we go to sites where they are calling my foreman engineer. I'll get yes, the engineer. I'll be wondering like, then what day I call the guy, I was like, my guy. Sorry, who is the engineer among both of us? See, people need to be educated actually. And the talking about Benin, why we have inflation in prices, it's not just about landlord. It's the tenants. It's the tenant that actually puts these things on themselves.
Really?
Yeah. I'll go to that part now. Now, there are some areas that you have this what do they call it? There's this name they give. Customers that I think grade A or something. Customers that have constant power supply. There are areas in Benin that you have light like close to 24 hours. There are some areas that it's 18. There's so prices for houses in such areas are actually on the high. But the question I ask them is, you're billing me because there's light in this area. At the end of the day, are you paying the light, or I'm going to pay the light bill? You get, at the end of the day, I'm still going to pay the light bill.
That's
It's just that you have the resources for me to get the light.
Yeah.
So why I said most of this inflation lies in the tenant is because you see someone, because he's desperate, he needs an apartment. He has the money for now, and they are telling him, okay, this house is 600. He will tell you, he makes an offer, I'll pay 800. He goes to the apartment, he furnishes, he touches up the apartment, he adds value to it, and he's just in probably like a year. The landlord is not even vetting to find out the source of his income. Then at the end of the day he leaves. When he leaves, he has added value, and the landlord has seen that there's someone that can pay for this. As he leaves, it takes the rent from 800 to 900 because he has added value to the place.
Yeah.
Then there's another person saying, I want to take this place. But if you look at talking about prices for houses, we should be looking at resources available, the types of jobs that are even available. Benin is not a commercial city. It's not a commercial hub. You have more of civil servants. Have more of entrepreneurs. It's not even like Lagos that people have remote jobs they do. So Benin is just basically we're hustling.
Yeah.
And the price you're tagging, it's like $1 million. The landlord should be. How do you expect your tenant to pay? You get. Well, we've never gotten to the part of security. Checking the kind of person that even stays in your house now. In Nigeria, because of the kind of society we are in now, we are used to a society where if a 21-year-old owns a Benz, you question him. How did you get it? I'm talking about the society now.
Yeah.
You can do this in US. Of course, we know you can make your money anyhow. But in Nigeria, there's a system in place that you have to get to social age. You have to be working in social place. You get now. There's already a system in place. So you see an 18-year-old boy coming to rent an apartment, he's paying 1.5 million. You don't even question him. And when he's leaving at the end of the day and a civil servant is coming, he will not be able to meet up that amount. And because just the normal human nature that is in play, which is profit oriented, someone has paid me 1.5 million. I don't care who is staying there as far as I'm getting the money. You get what I'm saying now? So you see now, because if at the end of the day people protest and say they can't pay this amount of money, the prices will be there. There are houses that will be uninhabitable. There are still houses that are uninhabitable in Benin because of the price. I was one of my agents was telling me, he said there's this property, it has been on ground like I think 6 million. A 3-bedroom duplex, 6 million in GRA. It's been on ground for years. He's been talking to the owner. The price is too much. Bring it down. Said that property has been on ground for 4 years. Now the person will need to renovate. Imagine how much he's spending on a property that is uninhabited. Then it was shared recently now that the landlord decided to bring the price down. Even the price he brought down was even too high. Because if you are aiming for someone to take a property for 6 million, you should be what kind of work does the person do for crying out loud to pay you 6 million a year? If we should subdivide 6 million, divided by 12, we're having like, let's say 500k. If I'm receiving 500,000, I will not be paying for a house of 6 million. That's foolish of me.
Yeah.
I should be looking for a house around, maybe a house that maybe my 2 months salary can chest fully. Like, what I can afford for 2 months. I should be looking for 6 million. I'll just gather my 6. Come on now. So why I said partly, it's because of the people. It's because if you have people that actually look at the source of income they receive and they look at what I think they'll be able to checkmate some of these prices. There are houses that when landlords, like recently my landlord just increased the rent. This guy doesn't, we have a group chat. This guy does not say anything on the group chat. He's just dropped a message that the rent has increased. He increased the rent by 40%.
Wow.
The rent has increased. Effect for there are some places rent that expire that are due this month. Effect from so we should take it in good faith. I saw it and I didn't respond. I was just smiling in my mind. This guy is looking for trouble. Then someone came to me saying, he doesn't mind paying the rent. I said, see, you might have the money, but this is not the right thing to do now. First of all, you're a yearly tenant. This is why people have to be informed about property. There's the legal aspect of properties when you're going to get property. There's the structural aspect. That there's an inspection aspect where you actually see the property, that you're about to move in. You hear there are some places that pay exorbitant amounts, for accommodation, and at the end of the day, they are prone to attacks. in the area. They are exposed to all manner of rodents. The house is even collapsing because there was no inspection done. Okay, now, eh, um, for leasing agreement, now it stated if you're I think it's even in law safe, for a yearly tenant, you are entitled to like maybe 6 months quick notice.
Yeah.
And if it's not bad for a landlord to want to increase rent, but you should give adequate time for you to prepare. Not like 2 weeks before your rent expires.
But if you move out or you still stay?
No, it's not about that one. I'm
Okay.
talking about the right thing to do.
Okay.
That's like tenancy policy.
Yeah, tenancy policy. You should give at least 6 months.
That's for yearly.
Yeah,
or if
for
you're
yearly,
paying 6 months,
I
like
think
3
it's
months.
Yeah, I think it's 3 months.
Yes.
You just increase by 40%. And so I just told him that's not the right thing to do. You might have the money. That's why I told you. That's why I just said earlier that at times the individuals, they are parts of the problem. You did not, because you have the money, you didn't even protest. You're never considering everybody. You're never looking at what's right. And we're living in a country where if you have the money, nobody cares what's right.
Right, yes.
Like, no, the will just buy for it's 800, they'll just calculate, and not just 100 naira the ads, Then people are living their lives, There's nothing to checkmate
This thing.
some of these things. How can rent increase from 2-bedroom flat increase from 300,000 within 3 years? Now people are paying 1.2 million.
It's ridiculous.
And we're complaining hardship, but yet renters, that's like 400% increase. It's not like the income that is coming is matching up
with
it's still the same income. You get now. At the end of the day, you have people pushed, to do crime activities will start going up. That's why I said partly it falls on, if there was a protest, they invite the landlord to come and say, see, it's your house, we know, but if you want to put an increment, you should give us adequate time to prepare. And we have persons that nearly came into the house. They've not spent a year. Me, I've not spent a year in the house, and you're increasing it by 40%. Like, come on.
All right, that brings me to this question. For talking about living as a tenant in a house, I could remember when I was done with my NYSC.
Yeah.
I wanted to rent a room and a bedroom with a living room, self-contained. So I'd already paid part of the money. So I was supposed to complete the rest of the month the following week. So while I went to meet the landlord to pay the balance, the rest, so I could prepare and move in, he handed over rules and regulations. And one of the things on the rules was that my friends cannot come to my house when it's exactly 7 p.m. They should leave. They cannot sleep. I will not entertain, especially male visitors. And if it's a female visitor who will be coming to visit me, will not stay beyond 3 days.
Yeah.
So I want to ask that, is there any way, because we've had cases where your landlord will deprive you from will deprive you from certain things, that you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. By maybe 10 p.m. my gate will be locked. So do you think these things are things that are basically right?
Okay. This is a very
like
hard
after
question.
you've paid. Mine was before.
Okay.
Like mine was before I wanted to pay the money. So when he stated all those, I was discouraged. So I told him to
You asked
refund.
for a refund.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Yeah.
But we have cases where
You've already paid.
you've already paid and they bring up that rules to you. They didn't tell you. So in this situation now, what do you do?
Okay, first off, if I want to come in there, it's a tricky question. Well, first off, before you get an apartment, after you've done your inspection, because usually before I get an apartment, I ask people around, that house, what do you think about it? Do you know anybody? Maybe I go to a shop close by. Do you know anybody that was staying there before? What were the conditions that made the person leave the place? If you do your due diligence like that, before approaching, to see terms and conditions. This is what you're talking about, terms and conditions. You have an oversight of, the kind of person the manager is. or landlord is.
But basically, I don't meant to give.
No, I will go there.
Okay.
I will get there. Why I
Alright.
say this is because at times, you meeting your landlord, you might not get all the information you have. Like I was being, they were actually seducing me to get this place. I got into. The place is good. The house is fine. I said, okay. What about lights? Yeah, we have like 18 hours light. I said, wow, wow. As we're going, immediately I stopped by. I asked in presence of the agent. When they get lights, they say, light, forget about it. We have we barely have like 9 12 hours. Like, okay, I can manage 9 because if I come back from work, when is there usually lights? Okay, from 6. I say, okay, if I come back from work, at least I'll get lights to
Leave, yeah.
to stay. At least in daytime I'm supposed to go to work and all that. Then when I moved in, the first I wanted to recharge for my prepaid. I just paid like 30k. I was happy, like at least for the next 3 months I should not be talking about light because it's just in the evening that I stay in. So one day we were having a discussion with my neighbors. I told them I just bought 30k. They started laughing. In fact, they laughed and made a mockery of me. That I was not wondering why you guys like. I said, you go back when we know they see lights. He said for the last 2 months now we've had like 6 hours.
Wow.
He said, so this your 30k you paid now, it might last you for 2 years. You get that? So there's a part of asking. You get that? There are some in Nigeria. There are some things that are not stated clearly. In the rules, or in the agreement, in the there are some things that are not stated clearly that you see. There is not written there, but it's something that is a norm. It's a factor that is a norm there. You are lucky that I told you. That's why some tenants do not want to stay in a compound where the landlord is because of their experience.
That's very common.
And some landlords also do not like some specific people in their compound. They don't like single persons. Because of security check, because of maybe damage to their own property. They are looking at their own interest. You're looking at your interest. It's looking at there are some guys that they move in alone, and before they have 8 or 9 persons coming to the house on to cause nuisance. So he's checking out for himself. So and there are different agreements based on the area. There are some estates where they will tell you, see, once it's 7, they don't permit visitors. You won't go against it now. If it's something you cannot live by, you just exit and go to the next place. So but it's important that you also check. You ask, as I said, you ask questions. You ask, because at the end of the day, you're the one that is going to stay there. You're even lucky to get a refund. There are some persons that do not give you refund. They will tell you are living out of your own accord.
No, mine I had not even checked,
there are some places that once you pay
Once the money don't drop.
Once the money is out of your account, and you might not have the resources to take them to court. Come on now, you're trying to pay a rent of 200,000. You've barely even had the money to pay 200. Then how will you finance a lawyer? To take him to court. Probably there are some places that do not even have 3 square meters. They eat like once a day. Do you think the person will have the resilience? It has all it takes to pursue the case. Then it will not be a case of oppression. So you have to be very very careful when you're talking about houses. You have to be very careful. There are some houses that, in quotes, they have spiritual problems. See, really? I never knew this part. No, what I'm telling you is real. I'm talking about someone that said this from experience. He said in the house, once he's 10, and they hear strange sounds. The other day they heard someone pounding mortar. The other day I'm telling you, and he showed me the house. When he showed me, and people started attesting to the fact that tenants have not stayed there more than 3 months.
Wow. I think I've seen something like this before. The place was formerly a mortuary. They renovated it, and the.
Don't you think all these things are myth?
And no, I don't. I think it happens. It happens.
It might be a myth, but I'm saying is that in your tenancy agreement?
No, it's not stated out.
How do you explain this to anybody that we're having spiritual problems? The first question I had, my brother.
So we are saying now that even with working with a real estate agent,
Yeah.
someone still has to be very, very careful,
Yeah,
and
you have to
they will
ask
take
questions.
extra measures to make sure that the person does not fall victim of. And generally, okay, before you like look for an apartment or you get somewhere to stay, there are some basic things that someone is supposed to look out for, like good roads and
Yeah.
good road network to the place, and the closeness of that
That's
place
access
to
the
your
place, proximity to
your
probably
workplace,
your workplace,
and maybe the electricity part as well.
Yeah.
If it is postpaid or prepaid, because that's another big issue.
That's another serious issue.
Another serious
You'll be
issue,
moving
because
into an apartment where they are owing like maybe 2 million postpaid, and you're just moving in. You don't even know.
you just join the debt.
I'm telling you, you're inheriting.
Especially utility bills.
Yeah. I think this topic is a very wide topic.
It's wide, actually.
Wide
So
topic,
talking
and
about rental property, you have to be very
very
careful.
careful. Okay, I want to quickly ask this question: which developing areas or developed areas, which, as a person, or from your own personal experience, which would you prefer? That, for example, someone who is just maybe looking for an average apartment, somewhere to stay, to just lay his head, not like looking for luxury or all of that. Which is it, the developing areas or the developed part of the cities that you just
Underdeveloped.
Well, that question is left for the person that is looking for it, because there are a lot of factors. I enjoy developing areas because I like nature.
Okay.
You get developing areas, they have their perks. At times you might not, in case of emergency, you might not have that luxury of coming out in the middle of the night, and all that. Then you have the cases of having unwanted visitors like snakes. How do you handle that?
Yeah.
So then apart from that one, you talk about proximity to work. So there are different reasons why. So if, as a young man, if you're looking for an apartment to stay, you'll be talking about proximity to work, then affordability, what you can afford. What you can afford. That's what you'll be looking at. Then you'll be looking at basic amenities that you think will be okay for you, for your survival. Maybe lights, water, house that does not have spiritual problems.
Spiritual problem.
And that's spiritual problem. See, it's not trivial, because there are some houses that people will tell you, when they were there for 2-3 years, there was no development. They had no progress
in their lives.
They had to live there. So it's really deep. And in the body that governs agency, I don't think there's anywhere that they have measures put in place to tackle spiritual problem.
then there's this stuff I really want to talk about. What about situations where we have individuals that buy land? Let's say Mr. A buys parcel of land, and that same parcel of land is sold to Mr. B. And that thing, I think it happens more in Benin here.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens more in Benin here. I think I've come to realize that such things really happen. So what do you really have to say as regards such incidents?
Well, it used to be a trend for a while, but I think cases like that has reduced drastically because of this. Talking about when the new governor came in.
Okay.
He's not a new governor because he's about to leave now. Yeah. Well, he actually tried to tackle that issue. So before you get a parcel of land, you do your diligence. Before you buy it, you should see paperwork. Then an area that is surveyed, you go check at GIS. You check. You look at the title documents, look at the root title. You see the history, where that land is coming from. If you go to GIS with the survey.
Sorry, when you say GIS.
GIS is it's a body in Benin that regulates lands and survey.
Okay, lands and survey.
I think it's something survey. I know surveys at the end. S is for survey. When you get there, when you get there, when you take the property, you take the survey there. They check in their system. They checking. There's a map. They have equipment to actually check, to map it out, to check it. You see the precise location. They check it. They'll tell you, okay, this property belongs to so person. You see. So we've passed that era of going to buy, except you're just being you're just being naive.
Yeah.
We've passed that era. And this brings us to real estate. What people
Okay.
call real estate.
Real estate, okay.
They see real estate. I buy land, I sell and give me. I'm into real estate too. Okay. What do you do? Okay, I buy property, I sell to people. That's the general idea of what real estate is. But it's there's the professional view which we are coming from, professional angle, where the person needs to procure a license. And dealing with an expert or a professional actually puts you in safe hands. Like as a PRO person, now dealing with you means that I can hold you. I can hold you, or they can bring you to check in the future if anything goes south. Than just talking to and you have control over things that you say.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's how it is when you're dealing with professional, people that are professionals. For instance, now in my own part of career, there are some jobs I take, there are some jobs I do not take. So when we're having disputes with clients, and there are some jobs you just walk away and you say no, this one will land me in trouble, because you don't want to develop a property that 10 years time, because you made 5,000 on top of it, when you've forgotten about the money you've enjoyed,
Okay.
So that's why that's dealing with a professional puts that in check. When you're buying a property with a licensed real estate company, you would have the company to hold now. If anything is going wrong, you take up the matter.
Yeah.
But as an individual, you might not. That guy is looking for money to jackpot. He's selling,
All right.
And these days, people sell anything.
Yes.
We live in an era where they forge documents. Now there's even AI itself that can generate my face and wait. Well, are we sure this is not an AI talking? We have AI that they can generate. People can generate. You can generate. You can generate a live person. In motion.
Yeah.
So you have to be. So dealing with a professional is the sure bet. We know there are some professionals that do not actually. They do not deliver as it is. There are times where people come and they fall below expectations. But that does not mean that we would not look for the best. Like what's happening in Lagos now, you hear that they are repossessing lands, they are going to demolish people's properties. People that spend millions. Do you think they didn't deal with a license or a corporate body? They dealt with them. Probably there was something along the line, that they did not check properly. And the government does not just wake up one day to start dealing with you because he has personal beef. It deals with the confines of the law. And if you actually go back and check, you see that those places they were not marked for habitation.
Okay, thank you so much for for gracing today's episode of the CASTED show. Well, guys, I believe you've been informed and you've been educated as well. Well, in the comment section, tell us what you think, what you feel about today's episode. See you and we'll meet again. Bye-bye.